You ever notice how some bands just explode onto the scene and completely shake things up? Today we're talking about 5 bands that did just that. Halestorm, Flyleaf, Kittie, Jinjer, and Paramore. Each of them hit the music world like a wrecking ball. And no, not in the Miley Cyrus way. From nu metal to progressive metal, from emo anthems to arena rock bangers, these bands changed the game. But how did they blow up? And how do they all connect? Let's get into it. Kittie, nu metal underdogs who kicked the door down. All right, picture this. It's the late 90s. Nu metal is taking over. Korn and Limp Bizkit are everywhere. And then boom, this group of teenagers from Canada, Kittie, dropped their debut album Spit in 1999. And let me tell you, they weren't here to play nice. Brackish and Spit were the songs that put them on the map. Heavy riffs, gnarly growls, and a sound that punches you in the face. They started playing with Slipknot and Pantera. Like, what a way to start your career, right? They weren't just part of the nu metal wave. They brought their own storm. Kittie didn't try to fit in, and honestly, that's what made them awesome. But as nu metal started fizzling out, rock music was evolving, and that's when Flyleaf stepped in. Okay, fast forward a few years. Now it's the mid-2000s, and emo culture is thriving. Enter Flyleaf. Their 2005 self-titled album comes out, and suddenly, I'm So Sick and All Around Me are blasting everywhere. That intro, that scream, that's Lacey Sturm coming in like she's about to rip the roof off. But the thing about Flyleaf was that they weren't just heavy. They were emotional, spiritual, and had that deep, personal vibe that resonated with fans. More or less, they were fully alive. And the timing was perfect. Rock fans were shifting from nu metal to more alternative, emotionally driven music. Flyleaf rode that wave, fitting in with bands like Evanescence, but keeping their own identity. And speaking of bands that rode the alt-rock wave to the top, let's talk about Paramore. The pop-punk powerhouse band. All right, you cannot talk about 2000s alternative rock without bringing up Paramore. It's impossible. They were the soundtrack to an entire generation of eyeliner-wearing, side-bang sporting teens. When Riot dropped in 2007, it was like an explosion. Misery Business and Crush 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 were playing on every iPod Nano, every MySpace page, and every high school radio station. Hayley Williams had this energy that made Paramore stand out, not just in the pop-punk scene, but in music in general. They became the face of Warped Tour, blending emo, pop-punk, and alt-rock into this perfect storm. But while they were dominating the mainstream, another band was working their way up in a completely different lane, Halestorm. But this is too much fun. While pop-punk was taking over, Halestorm was on a mission to remind everyone that hard rock was not dead, bringing back that classic hard rock vibe. They'd been grinding since the late 90s, but in 2009, their self-titled debut album dropped, and suddenly, they were everywhere. Halestorm's thing? Massive riffs, insane vocals, and unstoppable energy. They brought back that classic arena-filling rock that made you want to throw your fists in the air. Then, in 2013, they won a freaking Grammy for their hit album Love Bites, So Do I.
We didn't have anything written down, that's why it's on my phone. I wrote down some things like last minute.
Proving that rock wasn't just thriving, it was coming back to life. They kept rock relevant when a lot of people were saying it was dying. But while Halestorm was owning the hard rock space, there was another band redefining metal itself, Jinjer. And now, we get to Jinjer, the band that completely flipped metal on its head. Formed in Ukraine in 2009, they didn't just play heavy music, they turned it into an art form. Pisces was the song that made everyone stop and go, wait, what just happened. Tatiana Schmelek's ability to switch from clean singing to straight-up demonic growls in a split second? Unreal. They mix progressive metal, gent, and metalcore in a way that keeps you on your toes. Their songwriting is unpredictable, blending jazz-influenced grooves with crushing breakdowns that feel like getting hit by a freight train. With a reputation for jaw-dropping live performances, they've earned spots on the biggest metal festival stages worldwide. And now, they're one of the most exciting bands in modern metal, pushing the genre forward. The bigger picture, how they all connect. So, what ties all these bands together? It's not just their success, it's how they shaped rock and metal in different ways. These rock and metal goddesses helped recreate a new structure of mainstream music, along with growing hungry fan bases who have been craving for more. Kittie kicked down the door for heavy, raw nu metal in the 90s. Flyleaf brought emotion and melody to alternative metal. Paramore dominated the 2000s pop-punk and emo movement. Halestorm proved hard rock was still a force to be reckoned with. Jinjer redefined the sound and music of modern and heavy metal. 5 bands, 5 different styles, but all leaving a massive impact. Which of these bands is your favorite? Who do you think had the biggest impact? Let's talk about it in the comments. If you love deep dives into rock and metal, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's keep the music conversation going. Rock on.